Kicking off 10's week of total entertainment, Steven Spielberg presents Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future 2, Sunday.
Yo, Doc, come in.
Marty, what happened to you? I went to Biff's house and you weren't there.
You must have just missed me. I'm in the back of Biff's car. He's on his way to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Marty, listen, we may have to abort this entire plan. It's getting much too dangerous.
Don't worry, the book is on Biff's dashboard. I'll grab it as soon as we get to the school.
Marty, you must be extremely careful not to run into your other self.
Marchy McFly, Marchy McFly. Year 6 of Marchy McFly. Ready or not, Year 6 of Marchy McFly. I'm back, great Scott. It's Year 6. 31 straight days for you. In Year 6. It's Back to the Future Part 2. Every day. Gonna have a little talk of Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc.
Bing, bang, boom. Bada bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang, boom, bing, bang, boom de boom. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is Sunday, March 22nd, which means it is the 22nd day of Marchy McFly, the 22nd day of Marchy McFly 6th, and for the 22nd day, I am here talking about Back to the Future Part 2 to you. And after watching this segment of this 3 minutes and 20 seconds of Back to the Future Part 2, I thought it would be best to talk as slow as possible to fill time, because this 3 minutes and 20 seconds was not all that exciting and not a lot happened. And I feel that this episode might be the shortest. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Imagine if I did that the whole time. I mean, you already downloaded it, so you did your part already, but I wonder how many people who actually listen would have stuck with it. That being said, I don't know if this is going to be the shortest non-Florida episode yet, but I do know that in this 3 minutes and 20 seconds, it wasn't all that thrilling. In fact, you see the clip that I played at the beginning. I got it. First of all, I found a promo for a Sunday version of Back to the... Wait a minute. I don't have the Australian accent. Hold on. I got to get it. The certain words get me into an accent. And right now, that for Australia, that word is wallaby. And there it is. Now I'm in. All right. It's the Sunday movie. The Sunday movie in Australia. I don't know if I'm still with the Australian accent, but I think I got it. And wallaby always brings me in. Anyway, that was a promo I found, and because it said Sunday, I go, I don't care. I don't care if there's music towards, like, for half the promo. I don't care that it's for some station that I don't know about in these United States. If you're from Australia, maybe you know the station. But it had Back to the Future 2, and it was Sunday, so it was going at the beginning of this episode. But the clip at the beginning was I actually had a whole different clip, and I was like, this isn't all that exciting, but it matched the image that I used for this episode. If you see the thumbnail or if you see the show notes, or if you're on the website, you see a picture of Doc behind the billboard, but that isn't actually from the clip. The clip and the images don't always match up. Sometimes it's what's the best picture for this 3 minutes and 20 seconds and what's the best quote that I could use for the title. And see, me just explaining all that stuff just bought me a couple minutes of time. So see, look at that. It's all working out. This morning I woke up and I finished the book. I finished the novelization. Nothing groundbreaking. I think I talked about everything that was different. Like Doc, maybe I didn't mention this, but when Doc leaves to go pick up Marty, like I'll meet you at the roof of the school. Now we're not there in the movie, but in you've seen the movie when he takes the DeLorean to go meet Marty right before Biff takes the almanac back again. He gets caught up on some rope that he ends up using to help save Marty later. And in the movie, it just kind of happens. But in the book, it's because when he goes to take off, Old Man Peabody shows up again and thinks that it's the spaceship and starts shooting at him. I don't know if they ever filmed that. I know they filmed some stuff with Old Man Peabody out by the billboard, but I don't know if they ever filmed like him getting shot at. There's none of that in the movie. From my recollection. No, there is none of that in the movie. We all know that, even though we're not there in the movie yet. But when I did finish the book, now back in Marchy McFly 3, I read the novelization for part 3. Here I am in, reading the novelization for part 2. I'm not sure I've actually finished the original novelization of Back to the Future. I feel like I read some of it, but I don't know if I ever read the whole thing. So maybe next year I'll just do that, even alongside Marchy McFly 7 and going through Back to the Future Part 3, unless there's a Marchy Mc8. I don't know if it's in the cards, but I wanted to mention that when I finished reading it, I went back, as I normally do. If I'm reading a novelization that I know this certain podcast covered, I'll go back and listen to the episode, even if I listened to it before. So it's a podcast called I Read Movies. I will put a link to it in the show notes he did and I might have done it for all the way back in Marchy 3. He did a review. He basically talks about movie novelizations and the differences, kind of what I've been picking up and mentioning throughout the last week. He does these episodes based on movies and the novelizations and telling you the difference. And it's a really fun podcast. I will put a link to that in the show notes. But he covers Back to the Future 2 and 3 together. So I'm almost positive I listened to this before, but it was fun to go back. It was probably a few years. It was fun to go back and hear it again after just reading the book and having all those memories. Like having all the experience of reading it right then and there and just knowing exactly what he was talking about with all the differences. So I will put a link to that in the show notes. And the only other thing, I looked up Back to the Future Part 2 in news today, and I saw, and thankfully it had nothing to do with, a quote unquote star saying that they were, that they were Elton John's beard for a day. No, this was from another actor who was in Back to the Future Part 2. I don't think he claimed to be a star of the movie, but this is there was a Rolling Stone interview with Elijah Wood, who is in Ready or Not 2, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, probably see it in June for movie month. But he was being interviewed for that, and he talked about being on set and talked about showing the movie to his son for the first time.
He knew I was in the film,
Yeah.
And I think he even knew what to expect contextually, that I was in the Cafe 80s, that I was a kid trying to work a video game. So the stage was set.
Right.
But then the scene played, and I think I expected him to kind of go, and then point at me, and he didn't. And I paused it, and I was like, "Did you recognize that dude?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's you." I don't think he would have recognized me, which is kind of amazing. He was also just invested in the storytelling, I remember Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
Definitely. I remember the town square of Hill Valley and the clock tower and it all being dressed for the future. That was a thrill because just seeing that kind of set design and production design, especially for the future, for a kid of 8 years old, was just such a thrill. And I remember the first movie, so I remember being able to look at it and kind of go, oh, this is that, but
Wow.
now dressed for the future. So it was, I have quite vivid memories actually of working on it.
So that was both fun and topical, and it allowed me to talk about Back to the Future Part 2 without having to focus so much on this 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but I can't avoid it anymore. Today we will be talking about minutes 70 to 73:20. That is 1 hour and 10 minutes to 1 hour and 13 minutes and 20 seconds, where, the movie, 3 minutes of the movie happens. It starts with old Biff and young Biff, and old Biff telling young Biff, "You'll get a safe." And then it is kind of interesting because he does say, "Oh, and another thing, someday a kid or a wild-eyed guy who claims to be a scientist may show up." So that was fun hearing the end of that conversation that we knew happened at some point because Biff talked about it, in the alternate 1985. Oh, and again, I'm going to jump away. Speaking of the alternate 1985 and the novelization and the podcast, I Read Movies, he mentioned something that I completely forgot about, is that Marty, at the beginning of the novelization of Part 2 says wow, this is, I'm in an alternate 1985 now. Like, what else is different? So he realizes that he's kind of the fish out of water in his own world. And what else, maybe there's other things that are different. Like I said, maybe Biff, George punching Lorraine would be awful. George punching Biff made someone else stand up to their bully. I think if George can do it, I can do it. And then all of a sudden they meet someone and fall in love, and a kid is born and someone else isn't. Like, there could be a rippling effect of something besides the fact that George and Lorraine are now cool and happy. But we don't, the movie's not about that. So it never touches on that, but I do like that it is mentioned in the book. Okay. So, in the back of the 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Biff and Biff leave, and young Biff locks the garage. Apparently he only locks the garage when his car is in it. He doesn't seem to care about it when his car isn't in it. So Marty goes to leave, and he's like, oh, gosh darn it. Pulls up the walkie-talkie. Thank God these walkie-talkies have amazing range. He's able to call over to Doc, who's just chilling with the DeLorean so no one steals it. But he's like, I can't take the DeLorean out in the daylight. I'll have to think of something to get over there. He's like, all right, well, okay, great. In the book, look, I'm going back. He talks about going to buy clothing and going to buy a bicycle. In the movie, we just see him say, I'll get over there. And Biff is yelling to his grandma, and she's yelling back. Now remember, Thomas Wilson is playing both Biff and Biff's grandma. He's very much this movie's version of Positive K. What's your man got to do with me? I got a man. I ain't trying to see that. See, I'm not trying to go messing around. Positive K. He was both voices. I don't know if you realize that, but it took me years to realize that. And just like Positive K, we have Biff here, who is both Grandma Gertrude Tannen and he's also Biff Tannen. In fact, he's every Tannen we've ever seen, from Biff to Biff to Biff to Griff to Gertrude, and to Buford Mad Dog Tannen. They've all been played by Thomas Wilson. And I think that's the case in the cartoon too, because they bounce around from, time periods all over the place. And I feel like there's a Biff or a Tannen in every single time period who's always the bully, always the villain. And I believe it's always Thomas Wilson who played that role, the voice acting role of whoever the Tannen was. I think. I'm never going to go back and find out, but I do think that. So we cut to nighttime. I don't know how long. Again, think about this. It was dark when they got there. Get something inconspicuous. Marty gets an outfit. He goes over to, it's already light out. He follows Biff to get the car, goes back with old Biff to the garage. He's locked in the garage, and now it's night. So a whole day goes by, and he couldn't figure out how to get out of the garage. There is no other way out except for this front door, I guess. I didn't see. Is there any other door in the garage? Not that I noticed. There's a window. He could have tried to pry open a window, but instead, he could have opened a window without a problem because nobody looks or turns their head or has peripheral vision in this movie at all. So he definitely could have done that. In fact, he could, when Biff turns the light on in the garage, he could have stood right there, right next to the car, and nobody would have noticed. Biff would not have noticed. But instead, it looks like as Biff is walking to the garage, Marty jumps into the back of the car. And just to let the audience know that he's back there, he peeks his head up for some stupid reason. Biff has a rearview mirror. He doesn't ever look up. If he looks up right now, he would see Marty. Now, Marty's staring at the almanac. He's almanac crazy. But Biff would see him in the mirror, turn around, and pummel him to death. But instead, he doesn't, and he just goes to back up. Now, when he goes to back up, he is literally has his hand on the seat and his head turned. If his eyes even glance down, he should see Marty. It is poorly constructed, like a poorly planned out. If he's under a blanket and never stuck his head up, maybe. But there's no excuse for Biff not to see. Unless it's so just the angle doesn't allow him to look down, or it's so dark, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing: Biff doesn't turn the garage light off or close the garage door. He doesn't turn the light off, doesn't lock the door. He was so worried about his car before and locked it, but he doesn't do it now because the car takes off. And when the car takes off, this wild-eyed crazy man. Now it's funny. Biff almost hits him with the bike, and he does look back at him. And I wonder if he thinks I wonder if that's the crazy-eyed scientist, because, isn't Emmett Brown kind of famous enough that he's a rich family who lives, he's kind of the eccentric guy who lives up in that rich house. He's got to be kind of known. He's already known in the 80s, at least to Strickland and to Doc, and I would assume to Jennifer and to the rest of the McFly family. So maybe people know him already there. We've read in the comic books, he's pretty well known in the science world. You think maybe he would be well known in Hill Valley, but Doc pulls right in to the residence and goes right to the garage door wide open, light on, nothing. He's like, you got to be kidding me. Now, this poor old lady's in the house. She looks out the window and she sees this crazy old man, and what the hell's going on here? So we cut back, and Marty, for some reason, has to do it this way. And again, this is because we're in a movie. I can see the rearview mirror. I can almost see Biff's eyes through the mirror. And if I can see Biff's eyes, Biff can see me, and I'm here on the other side of a television or on my computer monitor right now. Marty sticks his head up in the back seat, and he's using his walkie-talkie, and Biff doesn't see him at all because it's kind of not that. It's just kind of dumb. He never looks in the mirror, but he kind of glances like, oh, what's that? And allowing Marty to duck. And they could have done something very simple where he didn't have a rearview mirror. Now you'll say, well, those cars have rearview mirrors. So you could just have Terry, the Charles Fleischer character, saying, "Oh, another thing, Biff, your rearview mirror was cracked in the accident, but it's on order. We didn't have the part in, but just come in in a few days. We'll give you a call when it's in, and it's already taken care of. We'll just it's a real quick fix. But in the meantime, just be careful because you don't have a rearview mirror. Solves it. No rearview mirror, and then they'll be like, oh, he doesn't have a mirror. That's why he can't see. It would actually play into it. There are ways to improve these things, and just a simple logic, a simple solution, and it would just take away from. Now again, I'm watching this, and this is 1989. I'm 13 years old. I could give a crap. I'm watching Back to the Future Part 2. I'm watching, these characters that I love, traveling, all these crazy adventures. I never think the fact that why isn't Biff looking in his goddamn rearview mirror? So Doc and Marty talk to each other. He's like, I came to get you. You must have missed you. Blah, blah, blah. They just keep crossing paths. And one thing that Doc has said this whole time is there are two of you here and there are two of me here. You got to be careful not to run into yourself. Now Marty's going straight to see himself. So that almost is out of his control. You know what's in Doc's control? Not riding your bicycle into Courthouse Square where you know that the 1955 version of you is working on a very important weather experiment. But instead he does right. And almost like he stumbled upon it, which, okay, the moment he stumbled upon it, he's like, oh my goodness. He's looking around and goes, there's the experiment. There's the DeLorean. There's the, so there's two DeLoreans right now. There's the wire going across. It's just like, I remember it from 1955. And he even looks under the tarp. And he's like, wow. And then he keeps walking around in front of it. If I saw that, I would immediately go, oh snap, get on my bicycle and pedal the hell out of there. Because there's the chance that I could run into myself. Now, of course, this is a movie. And of course, we need to have Doc run into himself. So we can't worry about all those, logic and a sensible thing and common sense. Now, again, it's like sometimes you're weighing that's kind of dumb, but you need it for the movie. And without it, you wouldn't have this cool thing in the movie. So it's like, is it something fun and cool or something kind of dumb at the same time? I don't know. I guess that if you can do both, make something fun and cool, but also make sense and logical and not kind of like, well, why would that happen? That's, I guess, when you can have something that's truly a magical movie. So they finally do connect, even though Biff can't hear the fact that Marty, there's someone in your backseat of your car talking. Doc can hear him just fine. And he's like, oh, the book is on Biff's dash. First of all, not safe putting it on your dashboard, but you would chalk that up to being a dumb teenager. And I'll grab it once we get to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. And Doc's like, oh no, you got to be careful not to run into your prior self. He's like, your other self? He's like, my other self? Yeah. And that's where this segment ended. And of course, as he says, you have to be careful not to run into your other self. He's saying it right outside the big time travel, experiment, weather experiment, whatever you want to call it, right there. So you can only imagine what's going to happen next, but we're not going to find that out until tomorrow, my friends. But do you see what I mean? Like this 3 minutes and 20 seconds, nothing happened. Like Marty was okay, I shouldn't say nothing happened, but Marty, let's like literally go through it. Marty's in the garage as Biff and Biff leave. And then Marty jumps in the car as Biff comes back and takes him he's going to the play, to the dance. That's it. That's all that Marty's doing. He's talking to Biff, to Doc, and I'm getting these names mixed up. He's talking to Dark. He's talking to Doc and filling him in on, what's happening. And Doc is like, I'll come get you. I came and got you. You weren't there. And be careful to run into yourself. Oh no, I'm going to run into myself. Like, that's it. There's like, it is. And I'm not saying that this isn't necessary in the movie. I'm saying that I just feel like for today's clip, I hit a bit of a dud. It was like, sometimes I got this very important moment or this fun moment or this great moment. And here, I don't think I got any of that. So I want to give a big shout out to Elijah Wood for, I think, saving this episode in Rolling Stone for doing that interview. I will put a link to that video clip also in the show notes. But that's it. I think that's it. It's Sunday night. I want to kind of prep a little for the rest of this week because, again, I'm going to be traveling. Going to be traveling on Tuesday, but the plan is right now to push through and somehow come out with episodes every day for you guys. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. We will make it so. But that's not until starting on Tuesday. So until then, you can follow me on all the socials at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. The Facebook page, well, that's Fans.Experts. The YouTube channel, oh, guess what? That's Fans.Experts too. Not the number 2, it's also Fans.Experts. And the website is fans.experts.com. And I feel like I'm starting to slow down my talking again to see if I could possibly get to 25 minutes. No chance, unless, of course, the theme song gets me there. But again, and I got to be careful, though. And I say theme song, it's like, it almost wants to play. But it hasn't yet, because it's not just saying the word theme song. It's also how you say it. Like, watch this. Ready? Here is my theme song. See, nothing. But if you say it like you mean it, then it's going to play. That's just the rules. That's just how things work around here. And it seems like I'm still not going to hit the 25-minute mark. Oh, I might with the theme song, though. We'll find out right now, because I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast. I made it.
See, I told you it's how you say it.
What I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe.
'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Oh man, I didn't hit the 25-minute mark. Oh, yes, I did.